No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Some goalies have better numbers. Some goalies have more shutouts. Some goalies have a better save percentage. Some goalies have better goals against average. But tonight, Connor Hellebuyck reminded all of us why he's the most important player on the Winnipeg Jets. And there's no goalie that's more important to their team than Connor Hellebuyck is to the success of the Winnipeg Jets. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. The band is back together with Dave Minuk, with Ezra Ginsburg. I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to talk about the Winnipeg Hellebucks putting on a show, taking a much-needed 4-1 victory on Broadway, defeating the juggernaut New York Rangers to relieve the pressure that had been building on the Winnipeg Jets just a little bit, with a performance, a Hellebuckian performance, that we will be remembering for many a moon to come. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Nice to see you on this holiday Monday. I hope you've had a very enjoyable Louis Riel Day. Dave and I were, of course, already together at the Moose game, but Ezzy, good to see you, and I hope you had some nice quality family time as well.
Dave sent me a picture of you and the fam, and you were scarfing down a pizza pretty good, like George Costanza style, when he's got the ice cream going at the tennis match. So you were having a nice pizza there, Drew. So hopefully you enjoyed the game. It was obviously a big win for the Moose. But yeah, we have the comment up from Matthew Thompson then there with the Jets, the Rangers getting Vermelka. And look, it just happened a few games ago, right, boys, with Joonas Korpisalo. And there was a similar kind of vibe to this game. And, the third period, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. It was almost like shot after shot after shot that the Rangers knew was not going in. And obviously the Scheifele goal, was the final nail in the coffin. But Hellebuyck was fantastic tonight. And second game of a back-to-back. And I think, this game has the possibility to really lead to good things for the Jets, because obviously, the Islanders are still in a playoff race right now. I forget if they're in the last wild card, or regardless, if they're not in the wild card or in a playoff spot, they're close to a playoff spot. They're right in the middle of the playoff race.
They just fell out of the wild card spot with Pittsburgh. I think they must have won earlier tonight, if I'm not mistaken. No, the Islanders beat Pittsburgh, so now I'm confused as to what's going on.
Right, and that's why I said that, Drew. The point is, though, that the Islanders aren't going to be an easy team to beat. They're playing some good hockey, obviously.
But without Matt Barzal now.
Right, Barzal's out for a few weeks at least, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I pressed refresh. New York back into the top wild card spot. That makes sense.
And good goaltending, good defense. I mean, the Islanders team is a pesky team, right? But coming off of that game, and Rick Bonus's comments, I know Dave had it up on the website, illegalcurve.com, if you're unfamiliar with the website. Rick basically saying, like, if guys don't play well tonight, they're possibly going to be healthy scratches. Like, you guys obviously did the post game. I didn't do the post game last night, but I caught parts of the game, and it was a disappointing loss against the team that had played the previous night. So this is a big win, right? The Jets haven't had a lot of success at Madison Square Garden, and they haven't had a lot of success against Shesterkin, right? Shesterkin was 3-0 against the Jets going into this game. So obviously a huge game from Mark Scheifele, huge game from Josh Morrissey. Dave, we got to focus in on Pierre-Luc Dubois. I realize, he took a penalty. You don't like that, but he was an absolute beast this game. And I thought that was a great response from PLD, who obviously wasn't happy, along with a lot of the Jets, with the way they played against the Devils.
Yeah, Ezzy, I think you hit it on the head. Sorry, not on your own head, but on the head, because look, the Jets needed to respond. They really did. They couldn't, they weren't good yesterday, and it was funny because at one point I said the Jets are they felt that Connor Hellebuyck was underworked yesterday, only facing 29 shots. So, and that was around when they had given up 40, but they just wanted to make it a nice even number.
That's right.
To make it 50, and it did have flashbacks of that game in San Jose where Connor Hellebuyck stole the show and with a 50 save performance. So once again, that was 51 save performance, I believe, in San Jose. So he's slouching a little bit, only making 50 stops in New York. But I mean, he made a lot of a lot of grade A stops, I thought, in this game. And Drew's tweet was right, saying the Jets logo should just be a picture of Connor Hellebuck's face, because really, I mean, he was the team tonight. And it was funny because, of course, it ends up being a rather lopsided score, and some of the one, I don't remember which of the Rangers writers had said Shesterkin's numbers the last little bit have fallen off a little bit. Again, he gave up, I think, 4 against the Canucks, a number against the Oilers, a number against the Flames, and of course 4 against the Jets. So, and 3 of those goals were on the first 10 shots by Winnipeg. Not that they had that many shots overall in the game, but look, at the end of the day, you've got to credit Connor Hellebuck and the PK. I thought the PK was good. They went 4 for 4. That could have been a game changer, I thought, for the Rangers. And the Rangers power play is deadly. And the Rangers have been running. They're right now, right? Like, look at their record. I think they're 8-2-2 in their last 12 games. They had won 7 straight before they went into Calgary and lost that game in overtime. So they had a point streak running into tonight's game of 8, which of course the Jets stopped. But I mean, so you got to give the Jets credit. You, specifically Connor Hellebuck, number 1, number 2, number 3 star in my mind. The Jets PK was good, and they stopped a very good New York Rangers team.
And how have we not used the word opportunistic yet? I thought
well, that's what I was about to say.
Come on, you stole it out of his. Come on,
like Dave said, I mean, you're looking at that game. It's 2-0 for the Jets, and the shots I think were something like 24-10, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Or no, pardon me. It was after the third goal. It was 24-10, not the second goal. So it was even worse. It was 3-0. It was 24-10. So, I mean, this was just, it was very one-sided in terms of the shots, but the Jets took advantage, and the Rangers had no shortage of power plays. And, the Jets, as they have been doing all season long, and it was mentioned on the broadcast, that's the one thing that you could point to the Rangers. Their special teams are not good, but we know you can win the Stanley Cup without having, the first or second best power play and penalty kill. But I thought it was exposed a little bit in that game, because this Rangers team, like, they were flat, I thought, after the Jets went up a few goals, and sure, they kept peppering shots, but as Gary Galley pointed out on the broadcast, like, not a lot of rebounds. A lot of the shots were from outside. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we could point to the Chris Kreider save, or when Tyler Mott had those chances, and I don't know how he didn't put that in. And Hellebuck was just, everything was hitting him tonight, guys. What can you say? He made 50 saves, and he obviously deserves the first, second, and third stars. But as Dave talked about, it's a huge response after a horrible game. And can you imagine, having to go into, the game against the Islanders, having lost 3 on the road? I mean, this has already been a disappointing road trip, right? So tonight was a must win, with, Colorado chasing you and everything like that. They needed the win tonight, period.
You're absolutely right. And now they have an opportunity on Wednesday, to salvage the road trip at 500 at 50, 2 wins, 2 losses, which is really where the Jets have been playing. They've been playing 500 hockey for the last little bit. So that would be, in keeping with where they have been, at that 500 winning percentage. But when you factor in the disappointment of last night's game, when you factor in Rick Bowness's pointed comments in the pregame today, because he wasn't, he didn't pull any punches. He said that, the best players, in his own words, you can read between the lines. He's calling out the best players. He's not naming them by name, but he's saying those are the guys who need to be more accountable, who need to be better, and who need to really carry this team. Because, we know that this team can't be carried by the bottom of their lineup. We talked about it a lot yesterday on the post-game show, that, with the rejigging of the lines and everything, it just didn't work. Those guys who are in the bottom of the bottom 6, they're bottom 6 players. They just, by and large are. So it was, coming into today's game, it was Rick Bowness putting out a call on his best players to be the best. Well, that is, Connor Hellebuck. Not that I don't think Bowness's comments were directed at Hellebuck for a second, because he's been, of course, the backbone and continued to be. But it's, it's Connor Hellebuck. It's, Pierre-Luc Dubois, it's Kyle Connor, it's Mark Scheifele. Look whose names are littering the score sheet. The game summary is just filled with Connor, Dubois, and Scheifele, and of course Josh Morrissey. Ehlers even gets a secondary assist. So the Jets' best players were their best players in tonight's game. I met you too, Ishaboy Bruce. It was a pleasure to meet you in person at the Moose game by happenstance. So thank you for hollering over at me. That was always great to meet you and so many of our other loyal fans that we have the opportunity to meet. So that was tremendous to meet you earlier today. But from the Jets' perspective, their best players stepped up when it mattered most. Now, did they still get caved in by the New York Rangers? Yeah, of course they did. But, again, we've said it on this show for a long, long time now that they don't need to apologize for having Connor Hellebuyck. Now, you don't want to have Connor Hellebuyck facing, 51 shots a game. That's not going to be a recipe for success. But, in this instance, he came up huge for them. And you sort of mentioned it, Ezzy. You could see the Rangers were getting more and more frustrated. I think almost right after that, the Kreider save, the save that Hellebuyck made on Kreider, you could sort of just see that there was almost a sag to the Rangers game, I thought, from that point on in the third period. And then, of course, Scheifele gets the wicked backhand to make it 4-1, and it was ball game at that point in time. But when Hellebuyck made that save on Kreider, it really seemed to just say, look, you guys, no matter what you're going to throw at me tonight, I've got the answer. And the Rangers are like, well, this SOB is just on his game tonight. There's nothing we can do about it.
Absolutely. And, Matthew Thompson's asking about the Gagne fight. I didn't see it. I've said this for everybody who watches the post-game show regularly. The 6:00 starts are tough to watch live for me. So unfortunately, the Gagne Trocheck fight, I can't add a lot to that, but I'll admit when I saw it on social media, I was a little bit surprised because even though, those are a couple of scrappy veterans, that's not exactly who you expect to drop the gloves, right? You think maybe Jacob Trouba, maybe Logan Stanley, Adam Lowry. So maybe you guys can add a little, analysis to that.
It was funny as it was basically Morgan Barron hit Trocheck and he was pissed and he turned around and he thought it was Gagne. And so all of a sudden Gagne and him are dropping the gloves in the neutral zone. And you're like, yeah, that's what everyone expected. The pugilist, Sam Gagne to be tossing it. And then he almost tossed it a little bit later in the game. So he was feeling feisty after he got back in the lineup.
Well, and I think Trocheck just picked the wrong guy. He thought that it was Gagne.
Yeah, he thought it was Gagne, but it was Barron. Barron had a burr in his saddle playing his old team.
Well, look, he definitely was noticeable. I mean, I thought, look, Pierre-Luc Dubois, of course, you mentioned he takes that dumb penalty, but he really makes up for it because then he had a little bit of a bull mentality in tonight's game as well for the Jets. You saw it early on the power play, obviously, that led to the opening goal, which he ends up getting credit for the opening goal. I guess they declared that he got a stick on it, but before that sequence, he just takes the puck at the side of the net, and we've seen him sort of pass that off so many times. In this instance, he just went hard to the net. He just went.
I was going to mention that, Drew. Yeah,
right. He just went right at Shesterkin aggressively and said, "Okay, I'm going to, even it didn't turn into a goal or anything, but it's just a way of reminding Shesterkin, I'm going to be in your face. I'm going to be in your crease."
Which is exactly, for the record, what have we been talking about now?
Of course,
is get in front of the net.
Yeah,
right.
And you should see that from PLD. And Drew has said this before, either on the Saturday show or the post-game show. Like, Dubois is the type of guy that can make power moves like that, and not only do they have an impact, but people are on watch because of that, right? Like,
that's right.
Instead of just kind of looking for a pass, he said, "No, I'm going to take this to the net. I'm being given a little bit of space here," and he was doing that
And it's a tone setter. It's a tone setter for the game because that happens early in the game. That happens within the first 5 minutes of the game. So when he makes that move,
I did see that though.
Yeah, well, there you go.
If people could only see the way I watch hockey games with two kids, like I run down to the basement, I watch a little bit of hockey. Naomi's upstairs, she's yelling at me, and then Ruben comes down and he needs me to read him a book or something or get him a snack. Watch another 2 minutes, miss 2 minutes. So that's basically how I watch hockey now.
And then you go and you wake Ruben up and you say, "Ruben, I need a snack," and then it works both ways. It's very nice. Yeah. But to my point, when you have that Dubois who's engaged immediately from the start of the game, Dave, it's a tone setter for the Jets. It changes sort of the dynamic for the team because the rest of the Jets, top 6, by and large, they're not guys who are going to score a lot of their goals necessarily from within a couple feet of the blue paint. They're not guys who are going to the dirty areas to score their goals. We saw all the other goals tonight. They're from a little bit further away. They're skill guys with great shots and great shooting capability. Not to say Dubois doesn't have all that, but he's also a guy who can just sort of power through the defenders and who can make life miserable for an opposing goalie. And the Jets need to see more of that from Dubois early in the game, because it really does sort of establish how their mindset. I think it establishes his mindset. I remember back in the day, with Andrew Ladd, when Andrew Ladd was, of course, a key member of this Winnipeg Jets team, you wanted to see Andrew Ladd lay a body check within the first couple minutes of the game, because you knew then he was in the game immediately. He was ready to play. He was engaged from the outset. Similarly with Pierre-Luc Dubois, you want to see him using that physicality. You want to see him using that bull in a china shop mentality early in the game, because he's engaged from then on, Dave.
Yeah, it's setting a tone, right, for both himself and for the team. And look, it's kind of funny, because what have people talked about the Jets for years and years and years, back in the Ben Sherratt, Dustin Byfuglien, years ago, right? The Jets are a big, heavy team, and of course the Jets went light. Now they're a little bit bigger and heavier than they were a few years in the interceding years. But the reality is the Jets didn't play that game, but that's, maybe they're getting that, maybe they're earning their reputation back, because that's what they need to do. And look, if Morgan Barron isn't a small guy, and if he plays big, that's a good thing. If Adam Lowry plays big, that's a good thing. But Pierre-Luc Dubois playing big, getting engaged, playing physical, that's what you need. You need him doing that. And yeah, the first goal is the result of him standing in front of the net. And, everybody was under the impression, including the NHL, that it was Josh Morrissey's goal until later when the second period started and you saw NHL.com, it changed the goal. But the fact is that that's what you needed. You needed Pierre-Luc Dubois to be engaged. You need those guys who are your upper echelon guys, to be the guys who, when you're needing a goal, they're the ones who are providing it. Sure, it's great to have secondary and third scoring from the, the Lowrys and the Menelainens and whomever else, as Koolmans. But the fact of the matter is that you need those upper echelon guys to produce. And that's what they did tonight when they got those opportunities, which were, of course, few and far between, because the Rangers did possess the puck for the majority of this game. But at the end, ultimately, you have, again, what have we said throughout the years? And I know people are saying that's not a sustainable way to live. I understand. And to win. Sorry, not to live. Probably you can live fine, but you're not really going to necessarily win a lot of games.
It's not quite life or death, even though people make it out to be.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that you don't apologize for having a goaltender of Connor Hellebuck's ilk and stature. And so as a result, he's going to win you those kind of games. And you have opportunistic, using that word, players who can score when given those chances. And sure, the Jets shooting percentage was 25%, and it's rather large, and I get that. But at the same time, those games happen. And there's games, like I said, there's games like the Columbus game where Korpisalo plays fantastic. The Jets controlled 2/3 of that game and they lose it. So, it goes both ways.
Well, and the only goal, I was just going to say, the only goal that I would argue was weak on Shesterkin was the third goal, and that was scored by Kyle Connor, right? Even though Connor's got a great shot, it was it kind of handcuffed him. Right.
It was sort of an awkward shot for him to try and save, because it was sort of like high blocker.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I was getting at there. Yeah. And Drew would know, he was a former goaltender in the Jewish Students Association Floor Hockey League. I was on that team as well. We dominated. So it was a good shot, but it was still I thought, at least of the 4 goals, that was probably the weakest one. Obviously, like the Dubois one, which we thought originally went to Morrissey, still gets the record, as Dave was pointing out on social media, but he's not going to have any chance on that one. It was just a deflection, nice shot, lots of traffic in front. Obviously, the Scheifele goals, those are nice goals, so I'm not going to fault Shesterkin on that one. So I thought for the most part, but also, there was remember when Ehlers flipped the puck? I think that was the second period, and Shesterkin went to catch it. It was the third, and whiffed on it. Yeah. I just thought Shesterkin, this is a guy that at times, when he's not just played the Jets, but the last few years in the NHL, he's looked almost like Hasek. He's almost like Hellebuck, like Shesterkin, Hellebuck. I mean, these are the best goalies in the league.
Shesterkin, Hellebuck, right? Vasilevsky.
Yeah, Vasilevsky. You could throw, I guess, Sorokin on there if you want to. He hasn't really done it enough, but yeah. But yeah, these are the best goalies in the league, and he just didn't have it tonight. it wasn't like a goalie duel where they were both, going shot for shot.
Right.
It was Hellebuck stopping everything and Shesterkin basically letting in one out of every 3 shots.
That's basically how it worked. Let's get into it. It's the Betway game recap. It's brought to you by our friends at Betway. They're the official title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post game show and one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront with a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. It was great seeing the Betway ad on the boards at the Moose game earlier today. So, and of course you see it throughout the game on the rolling screen changing ad thing that annoys everybody to hell. But in any event, our friends at Betway, big thanks to them.
What are the chances, by the way, that goes back, or is that just here to stay?
It's here to stay.
Yeah,
they're only going. The technology is only going to improve and probably get more consistent.
Yeah,
and I think it actually has got more consistent throughout the season. So it's just one of those annoying things you're going to have to live with. Sort of much like our relationship is what
the technology is going to get better and better and better, and then the NHL is eventually just going to have robots, and then Illegal Curve will eventually just be it'll be robots. Everything will be robots.
Cyborgs at the very least. I mean, I'm not sure if we can, I'm not sure if a cyborg is more technologically advanced than a robot, but whatever it is, it's going to be some sort of something like
AI,
that.
Something involving AI.
Well, actually, but it's just what we're going to do. We're just going to do what's it called, chat GPT or something, whatever the hell it's called. We're just going to auto do the show, auto transcribe the show using Chat GPT or whatever the hell it's called. Jets open the scoring. It's on the power play. Pierre-Luc Dubois, his 24th of the season, assist to Josh Morrissey. Of course, the record setter for Morrissey, Nikolai Ehlers as well. This one starts with a face-off win. The Jets sort of scramble the draw, and they jump on the loose puck, and they bring it back to the point, and they just work it around quickly. Dubois goes to the front of the net, as we talked about before, and Morrissey with the shot, and Dubois with the tip. And the Jets, for a long time, they had trouble scoring the opening goal. Well, I think that's now the third straight game that they've scored the opening goal in, and this one gives them a 1-0 lead at the 5:12 mark of the first period.
Yeah, Morrissey, Ehlers, back to Morrissey, and we talked about it. It was credited to Morrissey, but you could tell if Dubois didn't get a piece of it, I think it ended up going off of his shin pad. But he provided some traffic in front of Shesterkin. So again, like you said, Drew, off the face-off, it's quick. And this is the type of goal that we talked about on Saturday morning show, the type of goal that the Jets were scoring a lot of back in October, November, December. Just kind of hockey power play 101, right? Mm-hmm. So for all of the struggles the Jets have had on the power play, that was huge. When you talk about Pierre-Luc Dubois setting the tone for this team with his physicality, a goal like that really set the tone, I thought, for the rest of the game. Like in terms of just, I thought how the Jets played with the lead, really, because 5-on-5 was controlled, dominated. I thought it was funny. Our friend Garrett Hole, who's going to join us on next Saturday's show, he was saying Corsi is dead after the Jets went up 4-1, right? Because it was just 5 shots for the Rangers for every 1 shot for the Jets or something like that, right? And the Jets took advantage when they had their their grade A scoring chances.
The expected goals, now this is in all situations when, of course, the Rangers had way more power plays. The expected goals in all situations in the game were 4.9 to 1.8 in favor of the Rangers. Even just looking at even strength, so take away the man advantage, expected goals were 3.4 to 1.6. So I mean, look, this is a team got goalied, and the Jets were the team that did that to the Rangers. And full marks to Connor Hellebuck, as we've talked about throughout the first 20 plus minutes here on this Illegal Curve post game show. We say good evening to everyone that they're just joining us. Thank you for joining us. Of course, it is a Monday evening. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg talking about the Jets 4-1 victory over the New York Rangers tonight on Broadway in Madison Square Garden, and the Jets opened the scoring at the 5:12 mark. And then about 11 minutes and 20 seconds later, Mark Scheifele, just as the penalty to Morgan Barron for high sticking has expired, 4 seconds after the penalty expires, Dave, Mark Scheifele bangs home a rebound, assist to Kyle Connor and Neil Pionk. Ezzy, you mentioned that not a lot of these goals could be blamed necessarily on Shesterkin. This one is probably a rebound he doesn't like to give up, Dave, and Scheifele is Johnny on the spot to knock it in. And the Jets, again, who had been on their heels, who'd been badly outshot 20-9 in that first period, just as they kill off another penalty, or they kill off the first penalty of the game, that wasn't the 5-minute major that Gagne and Trocheck took, of course, make it 2-0, a huge goal for the Jets to give them a little bit of breathing room late in the first period.
Yeah, and Mark Scheifele gets his 33rd of the season, so he's on pace for, I think at that point he had been on pace for about 47 goals this year, so he would be setting a new career high, of course, if he hits that mark. But I mean, you got to give Neil Pionk credit. We've been quick to pillory him when he's made mistakes, but you give him credit for recognizing an opportunity. And one of the advantages to having, offensive guys on the PK is that they'll recognize an opportunity, and nobody can sniff one out probably better than Kyle Connor. And Kyle Connor recognized that chance, and as did Mark Scheifele. And so they turned with, 5 seconds left in the box. They turned that neutral zone opportunity into an attack. And sure enough, Kyle Connor, gets that shot off, and Mark Scheifele goes to the net. And that's all you can ask for. And, they said it on the broadcast. Not only did Mark Scheifele go to the net, but Neil Pionk ended up at the side of the net as well, looking for a rebound. So, again, recognizing that Barron is coming out of the penalty box and will be able to cover for him if the play goes back the other way. But again, I'm gonna steal that word that we've been using for a while now, boys, throughout this broadcast. But opportunistic, right? The Jets, again, PK was very good, and you've got to give credit to the PK, and it starts, of course, with your goaltender being excellent. But I thought the PKers did a very good job throughout the course of this game. 4 for 4. I don't know where the Rangers PK, the power play story, sits in the NHL. I'm going to guess it's probably top 5, maybe top 10. But the fact is that the Rangers have a very good power play, and it's firing on all cylinders. And so you've got a Jets team that
11th.
not only, I was close, fine,
Yeah.
11th power play in the NHL, and still you held them. And then not only did you hold them, but then you created momentum. Well, you thought you'd create momentum, but at least you gave yourself, as Drew just said, a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, and you mentioned Neil Pionk, and I think that's a guy that's needed to be isolated on this goal, right? Because Kyle Connor, nice, quick release that we've seen, and as you say there, Drew, I think the rebound is not a good rebound for sure. It's a juicy rebound, and Scheifele jumps on it, but the fact is Pionk, gets on his horse and gets that puck up to Connor quickly. And I forget who the defenseman was that turned it over. Trouba was out there. It might have been Nico Mikkola, but he goes to kind of make a play. And it was a good transition by the Jets. Like, that's how you want to transition the puck off of a face-off quickly. So good play by Pionk by getting the pass up to Connor. And then he jumps up into the play to give Connor another option there, or, jump on a rebound, which Scheifele jumps on. And again, that was pretty late in the first period. And that's a killer, right? With the way Hellebuck was playing. And it turns out to be the game-winning goal. You obviously didn't know that at the time, but I think Dave is right. For a guy, who hasn't had his best season on that particular goal, Pionk deserves a huge part of the credit for that goal.
Yeah, he's had so far the last couple games have been good for Neil Pionk. You're seeing good Neil Pionk as opposed to bad Neil Pionk that we've seen for the last little while. Yeah, thank you. 2-0 for the Jets after 20 minutes, so they're feeling good about themselves despite the disparity in shots on goal. And maybe it looks like it's one of those games where Hellebuck is dialed in, and of course we know that that's how it ended up being. Jets make it 3-0. Kyle Connor getting his 26th of the season, assist to Mason Appleton and Josh Morrissey. This comes at the 6:04 mark of the third period. Pardon me, the second period. It's not going to show up on the score sheet, but this starts by Pierre-Luc Dubois. This is Pierre-Luc Dubois' goal because he starts it in the Jets' own zone behind the goal line and carries the puck all the way up. Clean zone exit to a clean zone entry, and then the Jets move the puck around very nicely. Kyle Connor is left alone in the slot, and we touched on that goal before. It's a difficult shot. It doesn't look like the hardest shot that he's ever unleashed. It doesn't look like it's necessarily the best scoring opportunity we've ever seen from Kyle Connor, but the way he positions it and he places it very well, and it sort of looks like maybe Shesterkin's got a little bit of a screen he's trying to fight through there, but it's a difficult, awkward sort of save for him to make, and he's unable to make it. But you can't talk about this goal if you just looked at it. Pierre-Luc Dubois' name isn't on here anywhere. But if it wasn't for Pierre-Luc Dubois, this goal doesn't happen.
No, he supermans that into the Rangers zone. Like you said, Drew, the one-man zone entry with his power. But I just love what Morrissey does here. And I know that Dave appreciates this type of stuff because Connor tries to get it across to Appleton. and it gets picked off. And I want to say it was Philip Hedl. I'm watching the replay here, but I don't see it clearly. Philip Hedl has the puck, and Morrissey pokes it back to Appleton, and Appleton gets it back to Connor, right? So just a beautiful play for me by Josh Morrissey to point that puck, get that puck away from Philip Hedl and get it to Appleton and over to Connor for a beauty goal. Even though I think, that's a stop that Shesterkin would like to make. It was a nice release by Connor, but I just love the play by Morrissey to poke the puck away from the Rangers player there. I think it was Philip Hedl.
Yeah, it's again, we talked about it sort of earlier in the show, Dave. It's the Jets' best players stepping up and making important plays at key opportunities. And when you can carry the puck out of your own zone, and then when you can get a clean zone entry, it's just such a huge function in ultimately winning hockey games. Right. Clean zone exits, clean zone entries. If you want to look for a relatively simple stat to understand, folks, I know that sometimes a lot of the analytics and advanced stats can be a little bit confusing or a little bit take a little bit of extra comprehension. And, for a dullard like myself, it sometimes is a little bit difficult for me to wrap my brain around. But clean zone exit, clean zone entry, track those. And if you're winning those on a nightly basis, you're likely doing well for your team. And your team is likely succeeding when you're doing that versus your opponent better than the opponent does, Dave.
I don't understand. What do you want me to say?
I don't know. You can just talk about anything you want, really. You can tell us about.
Okay, well, the Moose actually played today.
Wait for that. I mean, you can talk about anything. Just
Well, I'm just saying,
you always say that I talk too much, and here I'm giving you an opportunity to get some words in. And you're like, "What do you want, Drew?"
Well, I mean, at that point, it was kind of like a hard stop, but I'm not really certain where I'm supposed to take it from here. As he
I'll back up Dave here. That was a hard stop.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
There's nothing soft about that.
Yeah, seriously. So I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, okay, well, Drew will pivot now to the next goal or something. Maybe he wants me to talk about the goal against the Jets.
Dave wants to be teed up.
I know. I mean, I agree, Drew. Here, let me just pretend like I didn't just do that, Ezzy. I also agree that clean zone entries and clean zone exits is very good for your team. Track that, folks.
How's that? Track the number of time I flip you off on the course of a post.
Okay, all right. Good little pushback from Drew there. Yeah, no, but I mean, look there's been some games lately, guys, where the Jets haven't been able to master that, right? And I mentioned, I didn't watch the whole game last night, didn't do the post-game show with you guys, but there was a big part of the second period that I was watching where the Jets were just disjointed. I mean, that's one thing that we talked about coming out of the All-Star / player break is that regardless of where the Jets end up finishing, you want your game to look a certain way on a game-by-game basis, right? And I think, this is a good start. And, if the Jets are able to beat the Islanders, I mean, that's going to go a long way. But who do you have coming back home on next Friday night? You've got the Colorado Avalanche. Then you've got the Islanders again, right? So this is not an easy part of the schedule. We talked about that on Saturday morning show, right? So I think, you could easily look at the shots and say, yeah, the Rangers got goalied. And let's not make any mistakes here. They did get goalied, but the Jets also took advantage of their goals and had some other opportunities, were solid on the PK. So overall, I mean, you got the 2 points. That's all that matters. It's a cliche, but I still think that you like more than Hellebuck's goaltending in this game. I think you like the fact that Scheifele put in a couple goals. You love the fact that overall the Jets were really good in the second game of a back-to-back. I mean, Logan Stanley didn't have a big impact in the game, but Sam Gagner obviously did. I mean, even though, fighting is not something that you're going to say directly correlates to a win here, he provided some energy on that fourth line, I thought.
Rangers decide to get on the scoreboard. Not that they decide to get on the scoreboard, but they
help them out a little bit.
Yeah, they get on the scoreboard here. Exactly. A couple of unforced errors and some blown opportunities here. It ends up with Vincent Trocheck getting his 16th of the year. Assist to Vladimir Tarasenko, his 21st. Of course, he's fit in nicely since coming over from St. Louis. This is at the 11-minute mark of the second period. And just when you think maybe the Jets get some of those warts out of their game, this is not one that Mark Scheifele is going to want to watch on the film review.
A lot of people. It's not just Mark Scheifele.
Well, but you're right.
His was the most egregious for sure.
Right. Fine, I'll grant you that. There's the flyby that he tries to make at the blue line, and he's out of the zone. Unfortunately, out of the Jet zone. Unfortunately, the puck is still in the Jet zone, and then he collects the puck and he's just trying to do too much. And I appreciate that he's trying to make something of nothing, but this was a case where he probably needed to be a little bit more cautious. And then it was just a comedy of errors a little bit in the Jets zone, something we've seen too much of as of late, with just a little bit of soft play and a little bit of casual play, and it ends up biting the Jets in the behind, of course, after the Scheifele turnover, really right in front of the net. It ends up with Trocheck, taking the Tarasenko pass and just putting it past Hellebuyck, and you're wondering, there's still a lot of time to play in this game, and now it's 3-1. But just ugliness and soft and casual. I think that would be the word that has really hurt the Jets as of late, Dave, is their casual play at times, and this is another one of those instances.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And look, it's an opportunity for you to get that puck out, and you have it on your stick, so there's no excuse. Right. And Mark Scheifele doesn't. Not only does he take that puck, takes it right in front of the net, and there's a lot of. And not only does he take it right in front of the net, he takes it like it's one thing you take it in front of the net when there's not a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
But that was like New York City rush hour traffic right there. I mean, it was a traffic jam in front of Connor Hellebuyck, and sure enough, as he turns that puck over and it ends up in the back of the Jets net. And look, a couple of things, right? You say, look what happens right after that, and you if you're a Jets fan and you're thinking to yourself, look, the Rangers have given up leads to the Oilers. Sorry, have given away the score to the Oilers and the Flames and maybe even the Canucks, and they were able to come back in all of those games. And the Oilers game, we know they won. The Flames, they lost, but got to overtime.
Yeah.
The Flames, they won the Oilers game, lost the Flames game in OT, but these are games that they've given up 2-goal leads or 3-goal leads. So
right.
You know the Rangers are capable of coming back, and you know the Rangers are feeling like they're capable of coming back based on A, how they've played of late, and B, how they've controlled the course of this game. Now, they're also having to know that this is one of those instances where they're going to have to possess the puck because their goaltender doesn't appear to have it, and I agree with you that kind of flub he made on the Ehlers kind of odd dump in, kind of lazy fly ball one. You're thinking, okay, Shesterkin's a little bit nervous right now. And it
looked like me out in the outfield playing for Ashkenazi there, Dave, not really knowing what I was doing back there.
That's true. So, I mean, anyways, it was one of those situations where you thought, okay, what's going to happen? Is the tide going to turn now that the Rangers have that goal? They've drawn blood and they're feeling good because now they're finally getting a reward, right? Before they're controlling. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's Pavlovian, but like you're not getting that bell isn't ringing. That bell isn't ringing for you. You're salivating, but that bell ain't ringing because you're not scoring any goals. They finally score a goal. They feel good about themselves, and they're going to try and keep on rolling against the Jets.
Yeah, so the second period ends with the Jets having a 3-1 lead. Each team.
What about that DeMello save? Wasn't that in the second period, or was that the third?
The DeMello
butt save.
The butt save. I know what you're talking about. I thought that was.
I feel like that was in the second period, wasn't it?
No, it would have been in the third period because isn't that where Morgan Barron takes the penalty on Tyler Motte?
Yeah, the cross-checking. Yeah.
And that was right after the DeMello save. So yes, that was in the third period, but things got definitely chaotic around the goal mouth of the Winnipeg Jets for probably the first 10 or so minutes of that third period. There was a lot of traffic, a lot of chaos, but Connor Hellebuyck was up to the challenge, making a number of impressive saves, even Dylan DeMello making an impressive save with his backside when he didn't really know what he was doing, but just sacrificing. And there was a couple of other instances. There was Josh Morrissey broke up a 2-on-1. I think that was actually the 2-on-1 that may have. Is that the one that led to the Connor goal? Everything's blending together a little bit. But
was that Alexi Lafreniere? Is that the one? I thought he broke up something there, but and just going back to what Dave said, like obviously Scheifele gets walked on the line by Adam Fox and then gives the puck away to Vincent Trocheck, and then it goes to Tarasenko, then back to Trocheck for the goal. But Scheifele also scored 2 goals tonight, right? So and it's the second game of a back-to-back. So it's one of those. It's a weird game, right? Like the Jets score on their only power play. They're excellent on the PK, as we talked about. The rubber was just absolutely flying at Connor Hellebuyck all night long. We talked about 20 shots in the first period, 51 overall. And so you're thinking, okay, well, you were badly outplayed at 5. I'm looking at some of the Corsi numbers. I don't know how Adam Lowry was at even strength was a 4.
Well, no, so that forward line, I have it listed to bring up Gagne, Lowry, and Barron. I mean, and that's generally been a pretty can hold their own. They had a Corsi percentage of 6.
Yeah, like I honestly don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't know that I've ever seen a Corsi percentage that low.
Below 20. Usually you don't see anything. Like if a guy's got 20, that's bad, or like 15 or something like that.
What
So
did we say Manalainen had yesterday, Dave? It was something really low as well, but I don't think it was as low as 6.
No, I don't
that
think
was the Gagne, Lowry, and Barron line, which played 8 minutes and 46 seconds at 5-on-5, had a Corsi for percentage of 6, 1 against 14. I mean, that is.
Adam Lowry didn't. I mean, even that play where Adam Lowry got caught in the neutral zone, which I think is the second game in a row now where that's happened, where he was slow and the puck was bouncing in the neutral zone, but it ends up leading to a 2-on-1. I mean, I don't know. Adam Lowry's got to be like, if he's not scoring, he can't be making defensive mistakes. I mean, I know it sounds a little harsh, but that's just the reality. If you're not going to produce, which is what you need to be doing as a third line center. And we've been a broken record or broken DVD, although Drew doesn't play DVDs, so he can't watch movies Snatch. If you were watching last night's post-game show, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter,
Snatch, Drew?
I've seen it. I just don't remember. Like Dave was going on and on about how great of a movie it was, and
it's one of my top 5 movies of all time.
Thank you, Ezzy. Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe top 2. I mean, Happy Gilmore is probably never going to be knocked off number 1.
Or That's My Boy. Don't forget about That's My Boy.
And I'm like a big Raging Bull guy. But I would say that, that movie, I mean, I've seen that movie, I would say at least, I don't know, 20 times.
Yeah. Anyways, we can't have another sidebar about that one because we already did yesterday.
You like dogs, Drew?
Well, Ezzy, the reason was because Bricktop right there, who just joined the chat, or I noticed for the first time is chatting, because Bricktop, was the winner of the Tough Duck Toque. So Bricktop,
Drew's got Bricks 10.
Yes, but Bricktop, in case you didn't realize, you won the Tough Duck hardest hit Toque for the hardest hitting comment last night, not tonight, last night. Make sure you email Ezzy, and you'll hear how to do that when we give away the next Tough Duck Toque after the commercial break. So lots happening. Let's go back to the Jets game.
The last thing that happened was, of course, Mark Scheifele getting his 34th goal of the season, assist to Kyle Connor and Mason Appleton, and you can see the chemistry that these two guys have together, because there was almost the picture that he was very close to getting the hat-trick goal shortly thereafter. Just a give and go where Connor just attracts all the attention, and he's just able to feed it over to Scheifele. And this is just an absolutely wicked backhand by Mark Scheifele. It's so wicked that it's our Seagram shot of the game. Seagram's, proud distributor, of course, of Fireball, tastes like heaven, burns like hell, and Mark Scheifele's goal in the third period at the 15:29 mark is our Seagram shot of the game. It's also the rounds out the scoring in tonight's contest, giving the Jets the 4-1 victory, Ezzy.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it was Drew or Dave that mentioned, nice pass from Mason Appleton up into the Rangers zone. And the thing that stood out to me is that, not only was it a nifty pass and a really nice backhanded goal for Mark Scheifele, but like Connor puts this in between 3 different Rangers. It was K'Andre Miller and Adam Fox were the 2 defensemen back. So it was like it happened in slow motion. Like it was a little backhanded saucer pass, and you're just thinking to yourself, there was not 1, not 2, but 3 Rangers could have like disrupted that pass or picked off the pass, right? So it was just incredible. It was like puck on a rope type of thing. Really nice play between, as you mentioned, Drew. We've seen Scheifele and Connor do this for how many years now? Nice. And that was the final nail in the coffin. The game was already over at that point because the Rangers just couldn't get anything back. But that one was just the absolute final killer.
Yeah, no question about that. That made it 4-1, and they certainly weren't going to get 5 goals past Connor Hellebuyck the way Hellebuyck was playing tonight. It was
I like how they entertained that thought on the broadcast. They're like, well, unless something crazy happens, and I'm like. And like the only way that Connor Hellebuyck is giving up any goals is if he gets shot from the grassy knoll and he's lying there and they're scoring goals over him, because he is not getting. I didn't think they were going to get 1 more past him, let alone 3.
But boys, let's not forget though, the Rangers do have Chris Kreider, so Chris Kreider is capable of injuring goalies. I'm sorry, that's a bit of a cheap shot, but I mean,
wow, it did cost Montreal the chance to go for the cup.
But I think if I recall correctly, that won me the playoff pool. I think I had a whole bunch of Rangers that year in the playoff pool, so I was okay with it. But that's going way back. How many years ago is that now, Ezzy?
2013.
Yeah, I was going to say 10. 10 years ago.
It sounds plausible. It sounds plausible.
It's old school.
Yeah, it is old school. That was the Rangers. Was that the Rangers Kings Stanley Cup final?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would have been 2014, right?
2012?
2012 or 2014?
No, 20.
2012 was Devils. 2012 was
2013
Devils.
was the Hawks.
2012 was, I think, was Devils and Kings. So
You're
maybe
right.
2014.
Shout out to Ilya Kovalchuk, Dave.
Yeah.
There you go. It's all coming full circle here on tonight's edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. The Jets win 4-1 over the New York Rangers. They alleviate the pressure just a little bit. They move within a point of the Dallas Stars, having played the same number of games. 4 up on the Avs. The Avs have 2 in hand. But most importantly, with Calgary losing at home to Philadelphia, even more room between the final playoff spot and the Winnipeg Jets. Minnesota currently holds the final playoff spot. Calgary, 63 points. They're 2 behind the Wild, and
by the way,
8 points behind the Jets.
Just quickly, Drew, before we go to break, it's amazing how quickly it dissipates and how quickly you lose a couple of games and suddenly, we're talking about the Jets challenging Dallas, and they're 1 point back at Dallas right now.
Yeah.
But those teams that are in the rearview mirror, Ezzy, they're starting to get a little closer.
I said that a month ago.
I know you did.
Everybody was talking about Colorado. Are they even going to make the playoffs? Like, what are you talking about? As soon as they get healthy, they're going to start winning every game.
Yeah, if you had to pick one team that's going to win the Central right now between the Wild, the
100%
Jets,
Avalanche.
Exactly, it's 100%.
It's not even close. I mean, I could see the Jets winning the division. I could see the Stars winning the division.
Well,
just based on talent, I mean, it's got to be the Avalanche.
Well, look at the Avs, 6-2-2 in their last 10. The
and
Jets
without
are
5-5.
McKinnon. What's that, Dave?
Isn't that without McKinnon? Like he's just, or is it McKinnon or Rantanen?
McCarr's out too.
No, I know McCarr just left, but I think wasn't it McKinnon who just started lightly skating? Like
Landeskog.
Landeskog. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so. No, it's called in my books. It's still Colorado's division to win, which is amazing because they were far back for a while there. But the way they're playing,
also the defending Stanley Cup champs.
I know everybody else is playing 500 hockey. They're playing 700 or 800%. Yeah, well, they might be playing 3D chess if everyone else is playing checkers. In any event, that's Jets win 4-1 tonight in New York. When we come back, more of the post-game show. We'll read some of the quotes coming from the Jets dressing room, contest giveaways, and of course, some of the trade talk and the injury status of Cole Perfetti. Much more to come. Don't go anywhere. It's a busy Monday night edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. We're live on YouTube and all of our social media platforms.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. We're back. Monday Night Hockey saw the Winnipeg Jets defeat the New York Rangers 4-1. The Jets next in action Wednesday night in New York on Long Island to face the Islanders as they wrap up their four-game road trip before heading home to face the Colorado Avalanche on Friday night. Opportunity for the Jets to equalize on this road trip with a victory on Wednesday. A much-needed win tonight for the Jets over the New York Rangers. Some interesting stats and things that I've perused on Twitter. According to moneypuck.com, Connor Hellebuyck had a goal saved above expectation at 23.4 goals so far this year. Entering tonight's game, that was third in the NHL. Strictly on the basis of tonight's effort, he added another 3.47 goals saved above expectation. So, of course, he was tremendous, as you all know.
He's exceeding expectations, Drew.
He is exceeding expectations. As he said to Sean Reynolds in the post-game show, our buddy Rennie, the comment was, quote, pretty routine night is what Connor Hellebuyck said to Sean Reynolds. So his droll sense of humor. Sorry,
he did say to Mike yesterday in New Jersey he wants to maintain positivity and keep a positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly that worked out for him.
Keep that negativity away from him, right, Dave?
Bring in the good, block the bad, bring in the good. Block the bad, bring in the good.
That's nice. Thank you for doing that for us, Dave. That was exciting for everybody. Igor Shesterkin refused to talk to the New York media after the game, which I found interesting. That Larry Brooks reporting that. So Shesterkin clearly frustrated with his play, fighting the puck as of late. And you saw that, on a couple of different instances in tonight's
funny when you lose
game.
one game. I mean, obviously he hasn't played well of late.
I never like it when guys refuse to talk to the media. Like just stand there, answer some questions, and then go home. You know. Like honestly though, like I mean, you're paid millions of dollars, and the media are trying to do their job. I'm not picking on Shesterkin here. I just don't like it when anybody does that in any sport.
Just give the rote cliche answers we've all come to expect and be done with it.
Like, we're not asking you to answer questions for 25 minutes. Just spend 5 minutes, answer some questions.
It's not Watergate, very folks. Well. Chill.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike McIntyre asked Pierre-Luc Dubois what he thought of Connor Hellebuyck's 50-save performance. Dubois said, quote, "Yeah, it wasn't that great." Hellebuyck was sitting right beside them when he asked him, and Dubois followed up with, I mean, he's right there. I don't want to talk too good about him. So the Jets obviously feeling much better about themselves after tonight's victory over the New York Rangers, certainly relieving the pressure just a little bit. This one courtesy of our buddy Jim Toth. Connor Hellebuyck, when facing 40-plus shots and or making 40-plus saves, has a record of 23-4, a goals against average of 2.19, and a save percentage of .950. So apparently Connor Hellebuyck, who certainly has faced his fair share of rubber over the years here in Winnipeg, really does like it when he faces 40 or more shots. The opponents, not so much, but Connor Hellebuyck likes it a lot, Dave.
I'm pretty sure he's faced more shots than anybody else since he became a starter, Drew. Nobody's taken more shots than Connor Hellebuyck in net. So, he's definitely faced a lot of rubber.
So we haven't talked about it, but Cole Perfetti out of the lineup for tonight's game. People were wondering about the status of Nikolai Ehlers. Turned out Nikolai Ehlers was fine. He played tonight for the Jets. How much ice time did he get? He got 13 and a half minutes of ice time.
The only guy who was over 20 was Mason Appleton.
Yeah, which is unexpected, of course, but that's heavily influenced by the almost 4 minutes Mason Appleton played on the penalty kill. Ehlers was healthy. Cole Perfetti not healthy, and if you read between the lines and you listen to what Rick Bowness said before the game in discussing Perfetti's health, it seems like he's going to be on the shelf for a little bit. I wouldn't expect him back for Wednesday's game against the New York Islanders.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that was typical. He was just trying to be. He was being his usual Rick Bowness self, where he wasn't giving up anything. I didn't read. I mean, sure, you can read into it however you want, Drew. I didn't.
We don't know the severity of the injury, is what you're saying, Dave, right?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get the sense that he was giving it one way or the other. That would be the way I would phrase it.
Fair enough. Different interpretations from different.
Which is, by the way, for the record, is the reason why you probably want to be a little more specific. Otherwise, it leads to different interpretations of what you're saying when you're not being clear.
No, but also, Dave's obviously joking, but like, there's also nothing to indicate that he is going to play Wednesday, Drew, right? So you're not wrong at all. Like, I mean, I think, like, flip a coin whether he's going to play. Do we even know what happened? Like, I saw something happen late in the game.
He said himself when he was doing his media availability, and Weber was pressing him a little bit, and he essentially said it occurred during the game. It was bothering him, but he finished the game. So we don't know when it was that it actually transpired.
Oh, in any event, something to keep an eye on. Let me ask you guys this. I think it was Nick Kyprios who was talking about the Jets' desire or the Jets' interest in Timo Meier, saying that it would cost them Cole Perfetti in exchange. Yeah. Would you guys consider that? Let's assume, because I mean, look, the Jets aren't going to consider that if there's not an extension for Timo Meier that would come along with it.
The question is predicated on an extension,
right? So if there was an extension happening, would you do that? Would you consider that?
Well, it depends. I mean,
I'd consider it for sure.
I don't think you're doing it straight up.
No, I'm sure that the Sharks wouldn't be doing it straight up.
They're definitely not doing it straight up.
Well, no, but I mean, the thing, it's a hard trade to just, like, I haven't thought about it a lot. I haven't broken it down, like what we're talking about, how many players are involved. But like, Timo Meier is obviously at this point in his career a much more like, he's a perennial 30 goal plus guy, right? Like, doesn't he already have 30 goals this year?
He already got 30 goals this year, yeah.
Right? So like it's. Look, you're getting a guy that is going to make your top six better, but you're also trading away the potential of Perfetti. Obviously, we're talking this is speculation. This is hypothetical.
This is what San Jose has leaked. Cost of acquiring Timo Meier, or of the cost.
So yeah, it's tough to say because I mean I'm very high on Perfetti. Like I think he's going to be really good, and he's already a good NHLer, Dave. Right? Yeah. Like, so it's tough to, I don't know. I mean, you're trading the future potential of Perfetti for Meier now, and for the next, you'd think that they would sign him to 7 years, right? Minimum.
Yeah.
You'd want to sign him long term, whatever long term looks like. It's not going to be 2 years.
No,
and watch him walk to UFA status.
So my answer to that would be maybe, but leaning towards no.
Okay, interesting.
I'm the other way. I like Perfetti. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a fantastic player, but I think that to get an established player, if you're a team that's in a win now mode, then you don't. I mean, this is something that helps you win now, not win 3-4 years down the road. So I think that if the cost of Timo Meier with the extension, of course, is Cole Perfetti plus, obviously, I think that's a trade that you're realistically doing because. You're not needing to protect Timo Meier. He's going to go into your top six, and he's going to make your top six a lot better.
I think the biggest issue isn't, that the Jets are unwilling to. I just think that it's going to be tough for the Jets to acquire him because we hear that the Devils and Hurricanes covet him, right?
Right,
and among other teams, right?
And by the way, as Vegas just made Mark Stone put him on LTIR, so they've got $10 million in cap space.
Right. So Vegas is the team that hasn't been talked about as much when it comes to Timo Meier. And then you hear maybe Dallas, but you hear Dallas might want Patrick Kane. Like, So I just think it's going to be tough with all the other teams. Who knows? I mean, the Jets might trade for him tomorrow, and I'm completely wrong.
As soon as we end the broadcast, that's when the news comes down.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I like Dave's not wrong, obviously, when he talks about, the Jets are in win now mode. I just think, Perfetti's only 21 years old. But yeah, to get Timo Meier, you might have to give up a player like that. It sounds like you will have to give up a player like that. If it's not, multiple draft picks and multiple prospects, you're going to have to give up a really good young forward. The Sharks aren't going to give away Timo Meier for, pennies on the dollar, right? So,
That's right.
but yeah, I really like Perfetti's game, and I think, the sky's the limit for him, but we'll see what happens.
The Jets weren't the only team that plays in Winnipeg to win tonight. I believe the Ice won as well, as per usual.
4-2.
Yeah.
And the Manitoba
Moose
Moose,
Jaw,
the Manitoba Moose won 5-1 as well this afternoon, which leads us seamlessly in.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Minute Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Drew, the only problem with this is should it be the Mindell Moose Minute or the Minute Moose Minute? You were in the stands. You were in the crowd.
I mean, I'll chime in. I'll chime in as needed. How about that?
Okay.
What is Drew going to break down his slice of pizza?
Well, Ezzy, that's a good slice of pizza. Okay, well, let's get into it. The Moose were back in action today, finishing out this 2-game set against the Grand Rapids Griffins, looking to bounce back from their shootout loss last night. Quick turnaround for this game. Jimmy Oleney the captain, making his home season debut after playing that weird 2-3 period game against the Marlies in Toronto last week. Tyrell Bauer, the other Jets prospect, he was back in. Ashton Sautner, Dean Stewart, those guys were out. Alex Limoges, Cole Meyer, they were day-to-day. They remain out of the lineup. And Oskari Salminen, who came in relief of Arvid Holm yesterday, he got the start in net. Early power play for the Griffins, but it was the Moose who scored first, boys. Christian Reichel finished off a beauty two-way pass from Ville Heinola and Henry Nikkanen. A lot of finish in that duo right there. Beauty pass from Nikkanen. Heinola looked like he was going to stop at the line while they're pressing on the power play, but he kept going, took the pass, and then made a nice beauty pass to Christian Reichel, who finished it off for his 9th of the season to make it a 1-0 lead for the Moose. And then Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, after a brutal turnover by the Grand Rapids Griffins, he got a nice pass from Nicholas Jones. So he scored his 3rd goal in 4 games for the Manitoba Moose. He's trying to show the Jets, hey, call me back up. Captain Jimmy Oleney looking for a dance partner, boys. He was looking for someone to fight. No one would answer it both in the first and second periods. But with 7,000 in the crowd, including Mr. Drew Mindell, the captain knew that he needed to put on a good show, and that's what he was trying to do for all the folks enjoying Superhero Day. Well, the prospects started to continued, I should say, to flourish in this game. Daniel Torgerson, the 2020 second rounder, he looked a little sheepish actually when this goal went in, but
Let me interrupt you. He should have looked sheepish. I mean, it's not his fault at all, but it happened right in front of me. I was right behind the Grand Rapids Griffins net. I mean, and Axel, what's his name? Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic.
He looked terrible, for the most part today for Grand Rapids. But he just missed the shot entirely, and I think the missed shot confused Nedeljkovic, and it was just as ugly of goal as you're going to see. And I was like, even my kids who were like, ugh, that shouldn't have gone in, should it, Daddy?
No.
Kids, no, it shouldn't have.
No. And it was funny because similar to the Jets.
Also, Daddy, can you pass the Twizzlers back?
Dad, why have you eaten all the Twizzlers and we have nothing for us? Like, what is going on here? That is crazy. But anyways, you know what, Drew, and it was funny because it was one of those games. It was similar to the Jets game, right? The Moose didn't. I can't remember what the shots were. I'm looking them up right now. Well, but I think in the first period they had
2 goals on the first 3 shots.
The first 3 shots they did. Yeah, it was 8-3 in the first period. So they had 2 goals on their first, and Tyler Boland actually hit a post. So which of course doesn't count as a shot. But the Moose were riding even though they didn't have a lot of shots. So you're right, Drew. Nedeljkovic didn't have his best game. No. But Torgerson made it 3-0 for the Moose. So you're suddenly going, okay, here we go. The Moose are rolling right now. And then what was the next goal? The next goal was, the Grand Rapids got on the board. Their first power play goal given up by the Moose in this weekend set. So they'd killed 7. They'd killed the first 2 killed 2 in the first period to be 7 for 7. And then, of course, they allowed 1 in the second period. So now it was a 3-1 game. But then the Moose restored their 3-goal lead, courtesy of, again, Ville Heinola. to Henry Nikkinen, who hit it was a nice long range pass from Heinola from the Moose zone to Nikkinen, who was streaking into the Griffin zone, who feathered it over to Jeff Malott, who broke his goalless streak. I think he had gone 13 games without a goal. That was his 17th of the year. That made it 4-1. And while everyone knows that I'm generally an avowed Wave hater, I'm not a Wave hater at Moose games, because Moose games, they're usually done by kids. And when kids are doing the Wave, I'm all for the Wave. So big fan of the Wave. The Moose folks were having fun. Kids were enjoying the superheroes. People were enjoying meeting Icy Drew. It was a party down in the main bowl. And game ended on just a spectacular play by Daniel Torgerson.
Yeah.
Henry Nikkinen picked up his third assist, made a nice play in the neutral zone, got it the 2019 fourth rounder. He got it up to Torgerson, who's the 2020 second rounder, and he made just a beautiful kind of like forward, backwards, forwards, just had the Griffins defender just looking all over the place, but where the puck was, because Torgerson was past him. Then he feathered it over to Bolin to make it a 5-1 game, and that's how it would end. The Moose win 5-1. And they're now 27-16, 3-3. They're in third place in the Central Division, trailing both Milwaukee and Texas, who are ahead of them by 4. They've all played the same number of games. And the Moose have a set coming up against Milwaukee on Thursday and Saturday.
Milwaukee.
So they'll have a chance to try and catch one of the co-division leaders when they come to town they'll be in town probably on Wednesday, and they'll start again on Thursday. So a lot of fun at Superhero Day. And of course, Superhero Day wouldn't be appropriate to end it without asking the players and the coach who their favorite superhero was. So we asked Ville Heinola who his favorite superhero was. He said Batman. Jeff Malott said Thor. No surprise, because he's a big guy. And assistant coach Nolan Baumgartner, he actually volunteered it before I even got a chance to ask him that really hard-hitting question.
I was going to say.
And he said the Hulk. So I'll ask you two the same question I asked all of them. Who are your favorite superheroes?
Ezzy, I'll defer to you on this one.
I don't know if I had one favorite superhero. I would say I was more of a Spider-Man guy than maybe Superman or Batman. But yeah, I'll probably go with, it's pretty cliche, but also my 3-year-old son Ruben is obsessed with Spider-Man right now. So I'm going to go with Spider-Man.
Okay, good answer. Drew?
I'm sort of similar to Ezzy. I don't know if I had necessarily one that was at the top of my list, but I'm going to go with the Hulk, because mild-mannered Mindell can turn into a raging green ferocious animal at the drop of a hat if you get on my poor side. So I'll go with the Hulk to answer this question.
Well, I'll conclude it by answering my own question. Not that anybody asked me.
Yeah,
but I was always a Wolverine guy. Big fan.
Great movie.
Read the Wolverine comics. My uncle got me into them when I was a kid. So big fan of the Wolverine. So that would be my go-to.
And you big fan of University of Michigan as well.
There you go.
There you go, Dave. Wolverine, Ezzy, a spider, and me, a big green angry blob, which somehow is very, very appropriate.
Actually, can I change my answer?
Sure.
Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Bear is my favorite superhero.
Cocaine Bear is your favorite superhero. Good. That's again, I was talking to my in-laws, and they were proudly sporting their Cocaine Bear gear. So that's something that they wear that proudly, as I don't blame them in the least bit.
Can I just jump in here? A few people are commenting on my mustard-colored sweatshirt. I don't know if it's
orange.
The lighting down here.
Orange.
It's
orange.
This isn't Every Child Matters.
Yes, I think I asked you about that sweatshirt before.
But everybody's talking about how it's mustard and yellow. Like a comment here talking about it. It's orange, my favorite color.
It's burnt orange, I would describe it. Wait, it's not mustard at all.
No.
Yeah,
but again, the lighting in my River Heights basement is not very good here, so I can understand why it looks yellow, but it is definitely orange.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that for everybody. I think we were all very concerned.
Yeah,
about,
nobody cared.
Yeah, it was really quite the random segue. Let's go with to the Illegal Curve merchandise contest, which of course we do on this show all the time after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. We give you a unique code word for you to enter, and then when you enter this unique code word, you, as a result, get extra entries for the opportunity to win some great Winnipeg Jets gear. To enter the contest, you click the drop-down arrow. Pumpkin, that's a good way. That's a good description of it all. also there, Brent Bellamy. You click
Pumpkin
the
pie.
drop-
I could
yeah,
go
you
for a
click-
little pumpkin pie.
Stop talking. You click the drop down arrow in the YouTube channel, and then you see the link for the contest page, or you find the contest link on our website illegalcurve.com, and you enter in the following unique code word: in 37 they trust.
Like it.
So that is the unique code word for today's edition of the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. In 37, and not the word 37, but the number 37. In 37, they trust, they being the entire Winnipeg Jets dressing room, because he certainly was a key factor in tonight's victory. So you enter in that code word, you get extra entries, and you are entered to win some great Winnipeg Jets merchandise, like today's winner, Mike, Pagic? Is that what we're going to go with? Or what do we think? Pagic? Pagic?
Yeah.
I
One
would
of the
have gone
two.
with that one.
Pagic or Pagic.
Okay, either way, it's either Pagic or Pagic. I'm not sure which it is.
Or maybe the J is silent and it's Payek.
It's unlikely if the J is silent.
It's actually Mike Paella.
I'm definitely not Paella either, but Mike and Pagic is what we're going to go with for the time being. Maybe
What we're going to say is congratulations to Mike.
We could just say Mike P.
It could say Mike P. And you see, the beauty is we get in contact with Mike. So it's not like Mike has to reach out to us for this one. We'll get in contact with Mike, and he'll get some great Winnipeg Jets gear just for being a part. Yeah, that's right, Eric. Easier than your last name of
Bizarro Eric Orlifson.
Yeah,
not my childhood friend Eric Orlifson, the other Eric Orlifson.
That's right. Anyways, congratulations to Mike. We'll be in touch to get you hooked up with your great gear, courtesy of us at Illegal Curve. Be sure to enter next contest, because that'll be on Wednesday night ahead of the Jets, or the Jets and the Islanders game. Tough Duck hardest hitting comment, Mr. Ginsburg. Who's getting the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment for tonight's post game show?
Speaking of last names that are hard to pronounce, we're going to give it to Greg Michalchuk. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Michalchuk. I think everybody else.
Michalchuk, Mitchellchuk, something like that.
Yeah, we're going to give it to him because I love this comment. I love peanut butter. I don't understand how anybody can not like peanut butter. Jets have been creamy peanut butter lately. Hellebuck brought them to crunchy tonight. I just thought that was hilarious. So, Greg, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, or you can slide into my DMs at ICSEG. Send me your mailing address, and Tough Duck will ship it a toque to you. And you're going to need it because it's going to be very cold this week. It's going to be a little bit nicer in a couple weeks, but definitely minus 30 this week. So, congratulations. You're going to get Tough Duck toque.
Congratulations to Greg, the winner of tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Dave, before I was thinking I'm going to wrap the show now, but do you have something that you want to play instead? I think we're going
to do one at a time. We're not going to do both this post game. We're going to do one today.
Slow reveal, right, Dave?
One on Wednesday. So without further ado, here are one of the outtakes from the Illegal Curve Grid Park commercial, year one.
On game day.
Start again.
Dave, you started talking before it was recording. Okay, go.
From the arena.
Grid Park app. It's. I feel like I'm reading too much.
Well, it is a bit of reading. It is a bit.
You have like 6 lines in the entire goddamn.
No, I know, but I just
ready. In 5, 4.
No. Countdown from 10.
5, 4. That was good.
I think we did it again.
I thought that was good. Do we need to do another one?
That was well done. Good job editing that together.
Well, we have aged in the last year.
We have aged.
Well, what I'll say is our backgrounds are all better.
Yes, our backgrounds are. I mean, yes, the
background. My background is literally exactly the same. Like, there's maybe one picture of Ruben's back there, but yeah, Drew's definitely has.
Yeah, well, mine used to be so barren, not Morgan, but now at least I got a little bit more entertainment behind you, something to watch to avoid with my inane ramblings. That was well done, Dave. I got to give you credit there. That was well done.
Just wait. The next one's a little longer. The next one's a little longer, but we will have to wait till Wednesday's show for everyone to stay tuned for the next outtakes.
Well, there you go. So no matter what else happens on Wednesday, if the Jets win, the Jets lose, you have something to look forward to, and that is the next edition of Illegal Curve Outtakes, where we pretend to know what the hell we're doing when we film these commercials, much like we pretend to know.
Funny comment from Matthew Thompson. So it's exactly like the show.
Exactly right. That's exactly, he beat me to it. He took the words right out of my mouth. The Winnipeg Jets win tonight 4-1 over the New York Rangers. Everybody's happy and smiley as a result of the Jets' victory, particularly the team, as the pressure is relieved just a little bit. Big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Danverville, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday's already sold out.
Love
Wednesday,
Danverville, good guy.
Dan's a great guy. Tickets available for Wednesday, and then Deborah DiGiovanni all weekend long, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday sold out. Saturday and Friday late show has a few seats left. Linden Market Dental Center, that's our buddy Dr. Les Rikus. Frank and Morrow, Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Betway, they're the official title sponsor of the post-game show. Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's. Hardest shot of the game. That went to Mark Scheifele's backhand. Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Thanks to everyone for joining us. It's been a fun weekend. It's been a fun couple days worth of shows. The fury of last night to the joy of tonight. We'll see everyone on Wednesday night as well. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Thanks for joining us. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.